Hands
angle
from
there,
Nathan,
nice,
big
nice
left
kick.
Here comes Jordan,
Jordan come back with those hands again.
Ahoy, hoy.
Hola.
How you going, mate?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, going all right.
48 hours from freedom.
Oh, it's a countdown, baby. It's like, I don't know. Fuck, it feels weird. I'm going to be back inside again. It's like, really?
I'm like forgetting, that I don't know, there isn't any life outside of this.
It's like, it's going to be like, that hesitant, like, almost like a scared little forest creature just calling out, going, oh, are we allowed to do stuff?
I'm be at the pub, spoon in hand, 9 a.m. Monday morning.
Yes, that's the right response.
Yeah, I'll be in the queue. I imagine there'll be a queue from breakfast.
Will be a crew. Yeah, oh, definitely. It's like, those pubs that's got like a 9 o'clock. That's got a 9 o'clock, opening. Boom, people are going to be there straight away. Freedom Day. I'm taking an RDO, boss.
Yeah. First thing, Freedom Day. Like, I need to locate the best spot for like bacon and eggs and a scooter because it's going to be breakfast.
Nice. All right. So yeah, it's been a little while for us on that one. Just trying to get our times lined up and whatever.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Busy gents.
Excellent. I guess you guys have been listening to maybe the Muay Thai hour in the meantime.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I have been.
Yeah, I have been too. I've been enjoying it actually. It's a fun little dynamic there. Yeah, Andy, Sai, Kieran, and sometimes a special guest they have on there as well. It's been cool.
Someone gets fat shamed by them every episode though.
Oh, bro. That's it. It's brutal in there. There doesn't seem to be too many limits on it.
Yeah, like that's what you won't catch from us. We're a fat shame free zone over here, by each to their own.
No shaming here unless you like Mod Thai. That's about it, really.
Actually, yeah, there's a little bit of shaming on our side as well.
Speak about good Muay Thai for me. Let's give a shout out to our boys at Warriors of the Mongkon. We're both wearing the shirts.
We are both wearing the shirts.
They were sponsoring this podcast. Thank you very much. And it's like, yeah, and like, look out for them, man. Like, they're coming back on the scene. They've got some cool things cooking up from there. I'm really excited to see, like what Owen and the boys that were in the Mongkon got coming forward soon.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the original Warriors in the Mongkon show, I'm pretty sure you can still get it on Vimeo. It's really, really good.
Oh, it's great. It's a great series, man. That one.
How long would that have been ago now? Probably over 10 years ago. Now, at least 10 years ago.
That doesn't feel old as shit.
Yeah. Like, I remember I watched that kind of when I was first starting out in Muay Thai. A lot of good Thailand footage. Follow some of the big names from, well, a lot of those big names are still big names, but following like Louis Regis. That was around about when Louis fought on Real Hero.
Mm.
Yeah, like that coincided with that massive Real Hero show when Toby fought Superbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, like wicked footage from those, and loves the slow mo. Does because he was actually to Sydney last time as well. Got some wicked clips from that as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like it's great. Like it's a great film that he puts up, and it's like, and like, yeah, look, hopefully we get some more cranking out soon as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what they're cooking up.
Nice. So another shout out from there. So like, well, this show we're spending a lot of time like catching up some news and also like breaking down the stellar card of One Championships first strike next week and next Friday.
Yeah.
But also in Australia, in Melbourne, from there you have Warriors away coming back again. From there, with River Daz being the front liner on a boxing card against I forget his last name, but I know it's Hunter. And I looked at Hunter's fight like recently with the Flamingo Jacob NG. And that one, and like Hunter's, man, he's not a slouch. He's only had one loss, which was the Flamingo, but that was a back and forth banger where they just dropped each other as well. And like, yeah, I'm really interested to see like River like taking like to a bit of boxing at the moment.
Yeah, River doesn't give a fuck.
That's why we love him.
Yeah. Yeah, love River. It's very interesting. Mad respect to Hammer, because putting on a show down there at the moment would just be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it's like he's got hit up with that like that letter he sent. Like everyone knows from that one, but like I'm kind of done with the COVID talk overall, so I don't give a I want to talk about it really anymore. But people that in the know saw the post they have to, with the athletes what they have to do from there. So like it's just another
very difficult. Yes, but I mean, like if anyone can do it, it's Hammer.
Oh yeah, definitely. No one. So yeah, so remember that one, like, yeah, by the live stream from that show, I know I will be. And like, just same thing. It's just always just supporting great promotions. So, we have like, plenty of good fights, and we keep our fight and keep like the top tier fighters active as well.
Yeah, I think like for promotions that are trying their very best, especially down in Victoria, because they now hold the record, the most locked down city in the world. I'm trying to keep the sport going. It's not just about letting the guys fight right now. It's the kind of foundation that you build for when capacity events are allowed to come back. Like that's kind of like the kind of like understated element of putting on fights now. It's because you've got like putting on a show now. It's not just about, being able to produce a live stream and giving the guys an opportunity. It's giving them something to come back for so that when shows can come back as we know them, guys are like sort of back in the swing of it. Like it's really laying the base for getting life back to normal in a couple of months or whenever that may be. So it's really important for the Victorians that have sat on the sidelines for so long that we can create opportunities where we can in advance of the crowds coming back and the interstaters coming back in and all that.
Yeah, definitely. It's just so important for me. Like it's like the world won't probably be same ever again. Okay, I think it's established, and we just have to keep moving forward. It's like if you want to fight, you got to do some shit. That's like they might not gel with you, or you just don't fight. That's just how it is at the moment from there. Yeah, but another show is coming back as well. The announcement of Simon to Sydney in New South Wales.
Yeah,
coming back.
Andrew Parnham, glutton for punishment.
He doesn't mind it.
He's gonna try his luck at being the first cab off the rank post lockdown.
Big day as well. It's like have again like the junior development series going again. It's cool. Development days in general, pro amateurs and probably some pros, but like just waiting to hear just the sweet sounds of yeah. Ooh.
Is that from the soundboard?
Yeah, I actually got to use it. So that's like all you got to do now. If anyone wants to do some ASMR, like open a bit of tile, just rub it in the hands, breathe it in a little bit here, and just imagine the atmosphere of someone like just throwing bones at each other.
Yeah,
and the excitement of the drill.
I mean, we'll get a little bit of a taste, I guess, getting everyone back into the gyms on Monday.
Yeah, just super excited about that. Definitely. So, going from there now, let's do a little bit of catch up because there's been a few things that happened in the world of Muay Thai since we last left off. So, hey, Hugh. So, what's been going on? What's been like pretty exciting from there? And like, yeah, what should we talk about?
It's been a bit on. Hey, fights in Thailand are going again. Which is cool. They started strong. Have you been watching any of this Lumpini Go sport?
No, I haven't had a chance to do it, except for like the women's WBC title fight a while ago. That's the only one I watched.
Yeah, that was cool. It's like, so Lumpini's under kind of new management. Lumpini Go Sport is like the brand running things, and they've tried to get actually announcement this week was that they've now paused operations again due to logistical issues. But yeah, they sort of kicked off really bizarre. Like Lumpini Go Sport as a promotional brand is operating fights, but not exactly Lumpini Stadium. Like they're upstairs in the car park, I think, running like closed door events, but like they've got this bizarre like green screen setup. So like you see pictures of the fights when they're going on, and they're surrounded by green walls, and like the aesthetic of it is like, I don't like it, but I can understand. Like they just do this kind of just to add like some, so you're not looking at a studio. Like they do kind of like night sky surround and stuff like that. It's not my cup of tea, but I can understand it. But then during the WBC title fight, like they on one of the green screens was like, did we talk about? I don't think we talked about it.
I don't think we talked about it.
Yeah, like it's a Zoom call. Like I didn't get it. Like you're watching like I guess like kind of like a small virtual audience, like looking at the sort of like how you're looking at us right now, like in that kind of gallery view. I think the
audience was like these are not your typical Muay Thai fans.
That's what I didn't get. Someone could tell me. I'm sure this is how it goes when I say things. People tell me why. I don't know who these people were, but I think it was something to do with the fact that it was like a WBC title fight, and like you have like the committee that oversees it. I think it was kind of like, you know, members of the WBC Muay Thai
Yeah.
board or something like that. I
Still, there's a lot of old ladies, man.
lot of
Like,
old
it's
people
bizarre.
back there. It's just like I was talking to Andrew Parnham during that. Like he said, I had to turn it off. It was too weird. I sort of agreed with him. I wasn't really enjoying it. But like he's like, how do we get in there? Like I'm watching. Let me jump in the Zoom call. I want to be in the virtual audience. Let me get involved.
Yeah, that's it, man. Like, what do I have to do? I have to lay some chips down or something like that for my turn.
Yeah, like how do I get involved?
Hmm.
If we're doing it, let's do it.
As well, like I'll just lean in fully. But like, if you're fighting on there, like, and like you said, it's just all green screen.
All green, yeah.
Be the green screens, man. But like, how would that play though? Like, if you're fighting, would it affect? It'd be weird, wouldn't it?
I've had the same thought because like when you're watching it, I've been watching heaps of these streams because what else are you gonna do? Like when you watch it live, like the aesthetic is super different to when you see the pictures of actually in the studio, whatever you want to call it, studio there. It would be weird fighting surrounded by fluorescent green walls. Yeah, there was some good fights in there, but like 2 weeks ago, Petitong or Kwan fought Tananchai. Like sweet fight. I like Petitong. Really good female style and just a little bit too smart for Tananchai there. But you can see like as the fight starts to get going, like guys aren't quite in the shape that we know them to be. And like some of these fights I've been watching, like there's been big names fighting. Like I watched Commonwealth FA fight as well. But you look at this kind of shape they're in and you read the tail of the tape and allegedly they're fighting at the weights that they were fighting at before. But like I'm like, you don't look the same. There's no way, like you see these dudes walking to the ring and the tail of the tape says 138 pounds.
Yeah.
And you like, there's no way you weighed these dudes. Like you just sort of like these are guys that they fight in the same weight class as each other generally, but you've obviously just let them come back from lockdown and just kind of eyeballed it. Like there's no way they're weighing the same. They don't look anything like they used to.
Well, that's right. It's like, you imagine like, if there's no fights going over there, you think you're getting these Thai boys in the gym while there's nothing, like no fights going to come on.
Yeah.
It's like this, and that's the same as us as well, so you can't expect too much from them.
Yeah, there's no way the New South Wales fighters either. Let's just go for it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's interesting as well. That's actually probably a point that I was thinking about the other day because I've been watching, like I said, I've been watching like so much Muay Thai. And most of it's been from Thailand at the moment because they've been pumping out their shows. I've noticed certain gyms seem to come straight back. Like I've noticed a lot of the big fights getting announced are like Jitmuang Non has been very, very busy in elite fights. Like, I think the first big show back was at Omnoy and headlined by Pechmarchon Jitmuang Non versus Yodleg Pet. Did that 99. And that was that one with the funny scoring. But yeah, I've noticed that like a lot of these big fights seem to have like there seems to be a handful of gyms that are able to get back the quickest. And I'm not sure, like I understand that when it's the big gyms, like your Pechindi's guys have been fighting a lot, Fairtex as well. But they're kind of like big kind of like almost Western style, quite modern, and very wealthy camps. So you can kind of understand that they probably have the resources to keep their guys in the gym and sort of support their fighters. But I've noticed like certain gyms seem to, outside of those big ones, seem to be the ones that are just pumping guys out right away. Of course, like across the board, it tends to be like the bigger name, wealthier camps, like a lot of PK Sanchai, a lot of Dead 99. And yeah, like I said, a lot of Jitmuang Non seems to be kind of like the same handful of gyms are like all the main event fighters coming back. So that's interesting to watch, like how kind of the landscape of the sport changes off of the back of a major lockdown. And well, it's kind of like it's the sad thing about Muay Thai in Thailand as well is that that it can be a very economically uneven playing field as far as like some of the smaller camps, their guys have all had to go back. Yeah, kind of like home, back to the country. They're working on farms. Like it's going to be some time before they can be back in real fighting shape. So it's like it's going to be interesting to watch how kind of what the face of the sport in Thailand looks like over the next, I don't know, year. I don't know.
Well, it's we hope it's looking good for him because what is it like the most of Thailand, like if you're flying in, they've waived the quarantine periods now if you're double vaxxed. So bringing in hopefully bringing in like more tourism, more fighters, being able to travel a bit more. Well, traveling's a little bit different to other places from there, but you just hopefully it just opens it up a lot more, so you can get the scene going again.
Well, I think Phuket's like it's a little bit different for us here and it's coming out of the east coast of Australia. But even we're starting to come through now. But like Phuket's quite easy to travel to now. I think like you just go. They have like designated. I could be wrong, but it's something like they've got like designated hotels, and you've just got to spend a few days there until you turn up a negative test, or 2 negative tests or something. And then once you have been in Phuket for X amount of time, you can travel on in Thailand. So I know a lot of people have started to already kind of funnel back into Phuket traveling.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's just good to see that they're actually getting something going again there. So because we'll briefly go through this, but see ya, bye bye. It's like going through a really good match that was on. Like it was a banger of the match from there. Kuladam versus Sexan. From there, it's like, man, you kind of expect it to be a banger, but even at the end, you can see Sexan just goes, well, I think I need to pull something out. So the spinning elbows coming out, axe kicks as well.
He's a psycho, eh? I didn't love this match, to be honest. I liked it from an entertainment everything okay back there?
Yeah.
From an entertainment standpoint, I liked it. But 140 is quite big for Sexan, and Sexan is a bit past it now. He never had the smartest style in the world. But you notice Sexan's at that point where, for people that are a little bit less aware of Muay Thai, Sexan's one of those dudes that is crazy entertaining, but relies on a lot on a granite chin. And we saw last year coming out of, when fights came back before they went away again, Konkla knocked Sexan out cold. And that can kind of be the turning point. I never remember Sexan getting cold clocked. I remember him. He's fought some big hitters, but he's never he's pretty hard dude to put out. So when you see Sexan get knocked out cold for maybe the first time ever, you kind of all right, it's starting to get. Konkla's a bit a massive hitter also, but then coming off this lockdown, he's up in weight a little bit, 140s. He will fight there, but it's quite big for him. His best work was in the lower 130s. Whereas Kulab Dam's a pretty in shape 140, I think. Even Kulab Dam can fight a little bit lighter, but I think Kulab Dam looked noticeably larger and he was carrying a fair bit more muscle than Sexan. I liked it though. I thought Kulab Dam looked. Kulab Dam's a very hard guy to beat at Channel 7. He's really good. He's really good anyway, but he's had a ridiculous run at Channel. That was where he made his name. He had some sweet KOs coming up in Channel 7, some ridiculous ones. Find them on YouTube if you can. But I thought he didn't really fight what do they call him in one championship? Left meteorite.
Yeah, I think it's something along the lines of
meteorite. Because he got this ridiculous left hand. He's got the touch of death in his left hand. But he didn't I didn't think maybe he's a little bit unfit. I didn't think he approached this fight like he's one of those dudes that comes out 100 miles an hour. And kind of sometimes at that higher level, the guys that can withstand the storm sort of start to outpoint him and beat him. Yep. Happened with Nguyen Lan Lek and Tamanchai, who are, of course, elite of the elite. But I didn't really think he tried to just sit on his left hand and just bowl Sexan over. He sat back on the ropes a bit and counter fought. His left knee was really nice. Kind of that long, kind of left kicking to sort of hold to kind of drop the knee across the torso. Really nice against Sexan. Hurt Sexan quite badly. Dropped him early. Dropped him in the second round with an elbow. Smashed his nose. But I thought he was picking his shots a little bit. He didn't fight like he was just going to do the hurricane thing and blow through Sexan in one round. Dropped him with quite a sharp shot. Picked his timing in the second, and then started to look a little bit ugly late, to be honest. Like Sexton's a battler for sure. Like
it's getting like chopped up in the legs as well. Just like it's like it was a tremendous beating he took.
Yeah, it was a beat. But it's one of those, like, Sexton likes these crazy jumping. I'd never seen him actually land anything like that.
Not that I know of.
Maybe in a little bit. I think when he fought in Kunlun in China, I vaguely remember him having some success with some pretty unorthodox technique. But yeah, at the stadiums especially, like he's always throwing this stuff, but it's like it's almost like just for the pure sake of show. Like I've never known it to be fair.
It's like Sunshine just says, I got to do one cartwheel kick, just need to get
yeah. Like I've got to do one missed kick into missed spinning back fist into,
This is for my peeps.
I love him though. Like I don't know if I want to.
Like is it time though? Is it time for Sexton? Maybe just go. Well, I think I've had a decent enough run. Do I hang up the gloves?
Take him overseas. Like he'll still hang. Like he was going to fight Artem Lobov once.
Okay. Wow. Wow. That there. I don't know about that match, but
that's what it was in Ireland. And people were like, why would you bring Sexton to that part of the world to fight? And this was 2-3 years ago as well.
Yeah.
And that's your opponent. And even Liam Harrison was going, I will fight Sexton. Like, that's the right way. Like, why are you wasting me?
Yeah, Lobov is so big.
Like, Lobov wouldn't be cheap either.
No.
Like, you could put that money towards fighting like a real Muay Thai fighter.
Yeah, this is a bizarre matchup to make.
Fucking stupid, man. I'm pretty gutted. I mean, I'm sad that Sexton didn't get to go to Ireland and bash Artem Lobov. But I don't know if I want to see that fight back on the books.
No, that's not. That's one of the ones that people can talk about, but never eventuate.
I mean, no one will talk about it either.
Yeah, probably not. All right, so talk about one more fight that happened from there. So we go all the way to France as well. So we had Jimmy Venot versus Yodwicha. And this one got talked about a lot because the decision of this fight from there was pretty dubious, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's I think in the Muay Thai they're talking about people it's like Jimmy won from there. I didn't hear it that much. Maybe I just don't have those people on my friends list. But
I didn't hear this. I heard it a little bit, but not heaps either. Yeah.
Yeah, but watching this fight from there, afterwards I go, I don't understand this decision. It was a split decision. I think one judge gave it to Yodwicha, and then another judge gave 4 rounds to Jimmy, and I don't understand. What did you see though? How would you break down this fight?
The boys on the Muay Thai Hour covered it. I chatted to Kieran about this after I had the exact same score as him. One was Jimmy's. I thought Jimmy but Yodwicha was having a look, was just seeing what was up in round 1. But you still have to. I think sometimes people will give a draw to that round based on what they perceive to be the Thai's intention. But Jimmy won that round. He landed on target a couple of times and kind of showed some strength in kind of affecting Yodwicha's position. I thought in round 2, Yodwicha started to get going a little bit, but I wouldn't really kind of split it. I thought it was just kind of a drawn round, not much of anything sort of happened. I thought 3 and 4, Yodwicha completely had his way. In the clinching, big knees. When you watch these in a round when if you don't really know how to kind of recognize a significant moment in a Muay Thai fight, the amount of times Yodwicha really bent Jimmy over a knee like that, that's massive. That's almost one of the biggest scoring moments that you can have, because you think about what scores in Muay Thai, accurate on-target strikes that do damage affect your balance and your composure, right? You're absolutely kind of showing that, that's one of the most visible demonstrations of a powerful strike in driving a knee up the center, and also the effect that has, the amount of control to actually really take someone's posture all the way over, show that strength and that kind of dominance. There was a lot of that. through 3 and 4. And then, of course, and this is the other kind of contentious issue, is that Jodwicha kind of just decided he was up and thought he would just dance the fight off. And I'm kind of conscious of not sort of repeating the conversation that the guys already had. But I think like it's an interesting one to bring up because you can't I mean, this is, how do I get my whole point out here? You shouldn't do it when you're not fighting in Thailand. Like it's a very Thai thing. It's not really like I get a little bit, I don't like watching Westerners sort of try to imitate it, especially like lower level guys. Like I hate watching it. Yeah, like when 2 Aussies fight and one guy decides, especially like in a 3-round fight or something, just start doing the dance and like, you know, Jodwicha is doing it very Thai style. He's moving his hands and just kind of skipping away, like demonstrating that he has no intention to continue fighting. I think it's misunderstood in some ways. Like from Jodwicha's perspective, it's like I am soundly up on points. Why take a risk? So, like, and that you can understand, like, I think there's a difference between full-on dancing around off and protecting your points. Like, because you might tell your boy, okay, you're up, keep and kick and just move out of the way. You're fighting a dangerous guy. That's different to, like, completely just bouncing up and down and kind of actively disengaging, which is more what Jodwicha did. But then again, like, I don't think, like, it's not like you want to look at that round and go, oh, Jodwicha was not engaging, so he lost. Like, he actually landed a bit. Like, he was kicking a bit. And it's not like Jimmy had any big moments either. Like, it'd probably be, I'd call that like a draw round. But I'd probably go like a draw advantage to Jodwicha. Like, I don't think it was like I think sometimes there's like a Western mentality that when you watch someone backpedaling and fighting in that way, that you should score it for the guy who was pressing forward because he was trying more. But it doesn't really work like that. Like, Jodwicha did land on target a few times in that round. He just wasn't really interested in.
Yeah. You don't get points for effort.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is a bit of, like, to me, I didn't even think, like, I see fights where I'm like, okay, this is a good point of education of like, this guy was very much more active, but he was getting, you know, hit with more accurate, damaging, you know, kind of like more scoring blows. I didn't even think this was that kind of fight. I just think it was a shit decision. Like, I don't think this was like no, you've got to look closer and break down the exchanges. I thought like a monkey could have seen. Yeah. And I could be wrong. Like, maybe some people be like, no, this is what should have happened and stuff like that. I can't understand.
Well, I think for like the level of this fight, you know, this is the WMC title fight. And it's like you, and like and Andrew pointed out as well. Like even the refereeing itself was
refereeing wasn't good.
Good, like bouncing them off the ropes.
Bad, yeah, really bad. That was very interesting. Like the way the ref, yeah, like when they're clinching up, he let the clinches go a lot, and there was probably some times when it should have been broken. I actually kind of liked it. Like I haven't seen like a Thai versus Westerner fight where like the Thai was allowed to work that much in the clinch. But again, there's overkill on that as well. There was probably some moments where he needed to break the clinch and didn't. But yeah, like when they would, like, rather than breaking like a somewhat stagnant clinch against the ropes, yeah, he'd grab it and slingshot them off it, which I haven't seen in a very, very long time.
It's like, I don't know, is this the 90s? What's going on here?
And it's kind of like, I know that was a mixed. This is where it's difficult, right? Because it was a WMC world title fight. But like it was a mixed kickboxing and Muay Thai show. Like, yeah, I'd be interested to see kind of where who were these officials? I don't know, like, because I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't know because there's that. Did you see that translated video of them all in the back after the fight?
No, I didn't see the translated.
Yeah, it was something like the you know, Jodwicha's team were blowing up, but like they were also just genuine. Like, you know, you see like. Sometimes teams come and fight outside of Thailand and like they genuinely are just confused at like Western perception. And like Jodwicha and Jodwicha's management were going, what happened out there? Like, and they said, you know, maybe we lost round 1, whatever. 2 was a draw. 3 and 4 was so clearly ours. 5 was probably a draw too. Which that's how I saw it as well. I think that's how they said they saw it. And they go, what happened? What happened? And they're talking to like the head official, I think. I don't actually know. Someone in a suit. And I think he said something along the lines of like, I agree. Like I scored it for you too, which that's not very good.
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, you gotta, I don't know, present a uniform front. Like if you're the head official, if that's who he was, but then you just go, yeah, I don't trust my officials that are underneath me, which is. Yeah.
So what? Do we overturn? Yeah, I don't know. And I heard some rumors.
Do we call up Daddy Tatry? Go, I don't like that decision. Let's take it to the committee.
yeah. Like I don't know. I heard some rules that. I mean, it's all speculation. It's very difficult to get news from like somewhere that is definitely the right place, especially when you got like ties speaking to French people in English and then getting that news secondhand. It's like I heard there was some rules that like the WMC aren't going to recognise Jimmy as the champion and they're going to recount or something. I don't know, because I feel like if you take this and put it in front of like a team of kind of executive officials, they're all going to score it for the
yeah. Well, like, if there was a case to ever take something to the committee and have like, and, basically other judges to have a look at it independently from there, it's like this is one. This is definitely one option.
But it's just like, I hate Muay Thai sometimes. Because like, that's a world title fight.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the best of the last 10, 15 years, which are. And Jimmy Vigneault is like top end. Like he's like a world champion in his own right. And like we just get this just nonsense coming out of it. But it's also like, I guess, I don't want to talk about elbow pads because it's a bit done to death. That's the elbow pads in France. But
forearm pads, you mean?
Yeah, like I've seen this before. I heard a bit of chatter about this, but I've seen a lot of fights in France where they're wearing like those long ass elbow pads. They go all the way down the forearm. They don't even seem to care if they're like Damien Alamos and Sittichai was quite similar. Sittichai's got little arms too. Like he's just whole arm is covered in this elbow pad. But like, do you think in another sport, like you could contest a world title with that kind of a stipulation change? Like, don't you think like the kind of playing field has to be? I don't know. It's a complicated one for me, right? Because you have to wear elbow pads to fight in France. It just is what it is. And the attitude in the past has just been, you take elite fights there because France is full of elite Thai boxers and high-end Thais go there and then just slap elbow pads on them and whatever. But don't you think once you're contesting a world title, like you kind of have to have exact stipulations? Like in another sport, I don't think that would fly.
No, definitely not. It would have to be uniform. But if that's what the country's like, that's it. But then again, they don't get the world title fight then, because like it's just different. It's like
very tricky.
Because if you look at like a lot of these, like like the big ones like WMC and things like that, like they've got rules. You got to have a certain amount of ring. This is how big the ring has to be, and this. Everything has to be what it has to like what's in their rule book. And I think elbow pad doesn't come underneath that.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I do not think you would ever, like, I think if you had the UFC going to a country and they said, okay, you've got to wear elbow pads for this fight, they would just not do a show there. Like, they'd just be like, it's, you know what I mean? It's too different.
That's it.
What we do.
It doesn't become, like, it's not really what, for this instance, WMC Thai boxing, it's not.
And on a single fight basis, I get it. But once you're putting the world title, you have to feel like there is, as you say, they're strict. The ring's got to be this by this and this high off the ground. And you know what I mean? Like it seems like it's odd, but I don't know what else you can do. Like if you've got a promoter in France that wants to pay to bring you, which is quite expensive.
Yeah.
And they've got a guy that's worthwhile for a world title. Can you just tell them no? I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, like, that's right. Like, it just leaves yourself too open. It's like, well, we're going to do it somewhere else. He goes, let's wear MMA gloves instead. And like, let's do someone's like, this guy's banged up. Can we put shin pads on? Like, it's then like, it just leaves you too open to actually, basically bend over a little bit and just like, change it up as you like.
Yeah, I think it's interesting at that world title, but I think it's made most tricky by the fact that France are so good at Muay Thai.
True, that is
Because
right.
it would be a shame to not be able to put on high-end fights in France because they produce valid world title challenges. And I guess like the sport obviously has a lot of support there, so they can kind of afford to put on big shows. It just seems weird to me,
Yeah,
that you're able to do a world title fight in elbow pads.
it is. It's bizarre.
Hmm.
It's like you said, like it's no point like saying like anything about the elbow. It's not going to change anytime soon. Like French, it's got great Thai boxers, but even like in the combat sports, where like MMA is not that long ago that it was illegal.
Illegal, yeah.
So like it is what it is, though. Right. So let's go on from that though, and let's talk about the one championship card that's coming up soon, this is great. Like really
Massive,
it's like if you are an old school fan, like like that just one generation back, I guess, like for like kickboxing, like this is where it's at. It's great. So we have a featherweight tournament coming up, and also the featherweight titles are going to be put on there. So this is like this is how it's meant to be.
Big night for 70 kilo boys.
Oh man, it's great as well. So like just doing a rundown of the list of the people on there. So like Enriko Kehl, this is Davit Critica, Sammy Sana from the last tournament. Like it's like if you didn't know much about him before that tournament, I think he put his name really out there. For this kind of newer stream audience of guys, to do some good work. Jesus, kids are going fucking nuts. That's all right. I'll go through it. A name that like I haven't heard for a while from there is like Chingiz. Like I remember him being so good back on the scene, and like I actually rewatched his fight just not too long ago against Enriko, and that was a pretty good match. And you also have Sittichai, of course. You have the debut of one championship, Tayfun Ozcan.
He's a good pickup. For one.
You reckon we're going to see the trademark leggings when he comes in?
That's what I was wondering, because like Tayfun's an old school, a tights boy, but I don't think Souwer has worn his tights in one championship. True. I could be wrong. Has he? I don't think he has.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, so maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Like I feel like if you're allowed to wear, if you're allowed to wear tights anywhere, I actually don't even think that should fly in Europe, right? Like you'd think they wouldn't let you.
Yeah, it's weird.
But like if it's going to be allowed anywhere, it's going to be
yeah.
But I don't think one will allow. Maybe they will. I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember anyone wearing tights in one championship.
Good. Like it should be a finish. Why are we wearing tights?
It's like it's too much hanging out there, So it looks bizarre.
Absolutely terrible.
Okay, quickly as well. So Marat Grigorian's on there, Andy Souwer's on there, and then the title fight from there is like you got your reigning champion Giorgio Pertosyan versus Superbon. Wow,
big fight.
This is good, man. So let's look at a bit. Like, well, let's put this. Go first. Like, who's exciting for you in this tournament that you reckon might take it all?
That's a good call, right? Because I like the individual matches. There's kind of a bit to read into here, right? Like, I think so like what is interesting to me is that I'm not sure how the bracket will progress, but it looks like at opposite ends is Marat Grigorian and Sittichai.
Yeah.
Sitsong Pinong. They would, if you were to tier this tournament, they would both be close to favourite status, especially with Sittichai just recently taking out Tayfun. Of course, back to Muay Thai for that fight, but looks maybe like he was slowing down a little bit, and then to have a strong showing, regardless of rule set against Tayfun, is important for Sittichai. But like if they progress through to the final, that will be their fifth fight. Fifth, maybe even
very well.
Yeah, fifth. I think that will be fight 5, and like if it's I think that'll be 5th, and if it's not 5, it's 6. Like it's not less than like they've fought at least 4 times. An interesting one because like like Sittichai was just like Marat's Achilles heel. Like he ran into him a number of times in Glorian in China and couldn't get past him. But then on the fourth crack, he beat him.
Yeah.
So even though like they've had a 4-fight series, Sittichai's up 3-1, but the most like the Marat win is the most recent fight after 3 losses. So it's interesting. Like it's almost like, to me, when I look at tournaments with guys that have fought before, which is the case across this tournament a lot, I think sometimes like the potential downside of a tournament is you just accidentally create a rematch that no one really wanted. That's, you know, that's what's good and what's bad about tournaments is you don't quite know how the bracket's going to progress. But like, yeah, in this case, like if ever there were 2 dudes that have fought 4 times that were worth doing again, it's probably these 2, just because of the way Marat just picked up his win. It's not like they were settling anything in that fight. Like Sittichai was up 3-0, but then Marat snuck one. So it's interesting. I think probably like the dark horse of the tournament, I guess, is Tayfun Ozcan, just because I think people are a little bit less familiar. He's on a good streak. Like he has not lost in some time, but has also been fighting exclusively on one circuit within kind of Infusion. So he's fought big names. Like he's fought a lot of the big names that have come out of that Infusion circuit, such as like Muhammad Jiraiya, but has not progressed beyond that and kind of mixed it in with these guys before. So I think if you look at it, like a lot of these guys have fought each other before or have a lot of common opponents. Like Tayfun Ozcan has fought at a high level for sure. Like Infusion is good and has produced some top talent, but has just been there, has not kind of moving on the international circuit. So he's probably like the biggest question mark for me. And then I think probably it's difficult. I think. I'll go a couple of thoughts matchup by matchup, right? And I think Enriko and Davit is. I think that'll be a fun fight. Like I think Enriko to me had raised his stock with the win over Chingiz Allazov. He beat Chingiz in one championship.
Oh, it was a solid fight. Like
Good fight, and I thought
I
was not
on top of him.
Yeah, I was not actually expecting Enriko to do well in that fight. I thought Chingiz was going to win that quite handily. Was reasonably close fight, but I thought Enriko won it quite well and hurt Chingiz a couple of times. Quite a difficult to deal with southpaw. And actually, a couple of interesting things about Enriko is like he's a southpaw who really likes to lead with like a left hook from his rear. So he can be, I suppose, somewhat what you might call reckless, I guess. Like he really likes to sort of charge in, gets him in trouble. Like it's one of those things, like he's got a bit of a dice roll style on entry. Like he really likes to charge in with that round shot from his rear, which is a little bit, I mean, it's not like super uncommon, but he doesn't have that like quintessential sort of southpaw style. Like I would call him a bit of a southpaw scrapper, I guess. Yeah,
definitely. And like when they versus Enriko, like he tried to scrap with Enriko, but like Enriko was like really fucking hurting. And he gets shit. And he had to sit on his kick game a lot more. That fight, especially.
Yeah, he likes that. I think he will start. He does also like against an orthodox fighter, such as which Davit is. Likes to really kind of drop that heavy kind of like arcing low kick to the rear leg. I think that's probably going to be a go-to and a bit of a distance setter. Yeah, that's kind of like his go-to sort of on the outside, I guess, is that sort of he likes the kind of left cross, but does like to go around with it. Likes to chop that again. Like he doesn't have that kind of, I guess, like measuring southpaw style where he really kind of sits behind like he's not constantly doing the circle around your opponent's lead thing. He sits dead on and throws round, but he's not a sit back counter fighter, but he does like to go second. Like he'll let you come in, and it's kind of, he gets hit like it sometimes, but like he really likes to, he does his best work within exchanges. Like he likes to kind of let you come in. He's on that kind of tight guard, and he works well on the fly like that. Like he kind of sits out just bowling, saying come in, big, leg kick, like these big kind of almost lunging shots. And where he does his best work is when you kind of try to pick him off and he does those kind of in-pocket exchanges. I think Davit Kiria will, because it's similar to Davit Kiria, right? He likes to just sort of put the guard up and let people go first. So like both will be quite willing to exchange in the pocket. I believe Enriko will come out best here, just based on. Look, the win over Chingiz to me is probably the best. That's influenced my take on what's going to happen in this fight a lot. I wouldn't have been I probably would have been leaning to Kiria's way before that, but I think based on current form, I'll go with Kehl in that fight. Davit, a very good fighter.
He's been up there with the best many times. Always basically a little bit more on the loser side of most bouts, but he's always just hang around there, and most of the time, give himself a good showing. He's never been absolutely blasted out of the water too often.
Yeah, he's also I think Davit, people, I think he's underrated. He's coming off a loss in his one debut against Giorgio. He's fought Giorgio twice, yeah, but who doesn't listen to him? But he's got some big wins. He was on a good run before that. He's beaten. He knocked out Nordin Benlo. He recently beat Anatoly Moiseev. He's Sergey Kulyaba. He's got. So these are all recent wins. I'm just looking at his record here. So I think people sometimes remember he climbs up to the top, and then a lot of his recent fights have kind of been reasonably narrow losses against top end guys. But people forget the climb. He's actually a fairly consistent guy. Again, with some really big wins. So yeah, I think it's an interesting fight, but I would have lent Davit's way in this fight, probably stylistically, before Enriko beat Chingiz. So I'm going to back Enriko in this one. I'm feeling gutsy. I'll do
it. Fair enough. You put that into your one championship fantasy.
Yes, I will. I will put that into it. I forgot that was a thing, but I will do it. I will back Enriko.
Look, for myself, thinking about this, you see probably half or maybe a little bit more, maybe half. It's they play that kind of real Dutch style, eh? Which allows for the big, the bigger gloves as well, opposed to the small gloves they're using for the Muay Thai one. And I don't know, I'm gonna pick Sammy Sana, go through just
the whole tournament.
Yeah, for the whole tournament.
Interesting. I don't know who my pick for the whole tournament is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go what he did before, came in just a long dude. If he can keep his range and just bang those knees in, especially when people are trying to get in close, it's hard to deal with. But him versus Chingiz, we'll see.
It's a good fight. I think Chingiz is, again, I was very surprised that Enriko beat Chingiz. Chingiz, up until the fight with Petrosyan a couple of years ago on Bellator, looked almost unbeatable for a number of years. Chingiz is one of my stylistic favorites to watch. I think he's got he's an ex-K1 Grand Prix champion. He just went on this absolutely filthy win streak in the lead up to that fight with Petrosyan, where he was fighting mostly in Japan, a bit in China as well, because he had a couple of fights in he was undefeated up until about 2013, and then he lost back-to-back fights against Marat Grigorian and Sittichai. And the Marat one was a little bit, it was on Glory. It was his only fight in Glory. It was a bit of a funny one. Marat spun in an exchange and cut Chingiz, and Chingiz said it was an elbow. It looked like it could have been difficult to say, and got stopped by the doctor in the first couple of minutes. And then when he lost to Sittichai, was by extra round decision as well. 2 close fights against top end guys when he was quite young. And then just went on this ridiculous win streak that included a K1 GP title, all the way up until he would have won at least 20 fights in a row, some crazy win streak. And but again, one of these guys that was fighting pretty much exclusively in Asia at kind of the height of glory, so you could kind of be forgiven for not knowing he was a real player. But he's got this fascinating style to watch where he will cover space with stance switches. Like, he's a fascinatingly agile striker where, like, his control of distance is as good as anyone's in the world. Like, he's got this amazing method of, like, lulling you in with this funny rhythm. Like, he knows how to like, he will fight the space. Like, you'll often see him punching the air in front of his opponent. And like, it's kind of funny to watch until you realize what a measurement play that is. Like, fighting up to he's not missing. He's not an inaccurate dude. He's really just looking to control that air, really dictate where the fight takes place, and manage your ability to enter in. Wicked high kick on Chingiz. Will be difficult to land a high kick against Sammy Sana. But yeah, has some wicked high kicks, and his ability to whip out the high kicks from anywhere out of either stance is very difficult. Like, he has some crazy high kick KOs. And this also really sort of, like, he just has an amazing ability to not allow you to understand how far away you are from him. Like, you see where he has that ability to ice people because they relax on the outside. They don't understand because the way he covers space to just step into the other stance. And, like, he's got, like, a really nice step through left hook. So I don't even know if you could call him orthodox. Like, he changes that much. Like,
he does.
He's fully bistandard. Like, when he steps through with a hooking shot, like, I've seen him clip a lot of people with that, because his ability in milliseconds to reset into the other stance and land with full power is unbelievable. And the way that stance switching allows him to control the ring laterally is amazing. And that's where people, like, he knows how to catch people when they take a breath. His body works really good. And yeah, kind of just that cheeky high kick from wherever is difficult to deal with. Like, I think to flip to the other side of this, as you say, Sammy Sana is like I feel like coming into this, like, I had a similar feeling to yourself. I kind of wanted to pick Sammy to win the whole thing, because, like, last time he came in with the upset over Ozcan. Really, I mean, like, people say he made a name for himself there, but he's had like 150 fights, so, like, it's kind of difficult. You know what I mean? Like, it's like he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, just that little bit more mainstream shine to him, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I think his style is a bit less like he really likes to. He's a long, tall guy, but his thing is kind of, rather than, like, staying long all the time, like a big kick and knee fighter, but he actually likes to kind of bowl over you with sort of that boxing game and tie. That's where a lot of those knees come from, not like that sit back and spear a straight knee, but kind of punch his way over you, so he's kind of arching his whole frame over the top of you and then knee from in there. Like, not a kickboxing knee style per se, relies on the clinch a little bit, but he can adapt that. And I think that's probably going to be the game against Chingiz, like, is to not kind of, but Chingiz is a very difficult dude to sort of sit in and exchange with. I think probably the big gloves as opposed to the little ones favor Chingiz in this fight. I would probably say, I think, like, Sammy Sana so long and ranging those little gloves is quite tricky.
Yep.
But I think, yeah, I reckon I'm going to actually go Chingiz way in the opening round.
That's fair. That's fair. It's like, especially with Chingiz, I guess his last fight, like, maybe just shaking off a little, like, just those one championships first time out, kind of like jitters out a bit, and it would like this, I can see as well with Sammy Sanders, mate, would suit a lot of his game as well. Like, just getting there, using the hands a bit more. It's like,
that's an interesting thing to bring up as well. I actually thought against Enriko Kehl that Chingiz struggled in the cage.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going to do. They'll probably be in a ring, right? Like, I don't know if one is still doing sometimes a ring, sometimes a cage. But if it's all kickboxing, then
it's in the ring.
Yeah.
So anyway,
if it's in a ring, it favors Chingiz. I believe that, because I think being how much of his game is built upon ring control when you get rid of the ring, it's a little bit. I did think I have no doubt that he could adapt it perfectly, but I actually think there was some growing pains in making his style cage friendly, because the corners are very important to the way that he exits. The way that he would kind of press forward on Enriko with no corner to back him into, I thought made him struggle a little bit, and no corner to kind of do that sharp exit out of. I thought watching that fight that Chingiz was struggling a little bit with the change of surface. So it'll be like, I will be interested to see where they're kind of putting this fight, because I think it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, that'll be a really interesting match. That one, hoping my boy Sana comes through with it. But let's go into the next one. So you got Sittichai. They're like stapled the game for so long now. But also for a lot of people, it's the first look at Tayfun. And how do you reckon this match plays out?
I think this is like a big question of where Sittichai's at. Like, I think he looked like as we discussed with the Marat fight and then the Superbon fight, first in one, he did really look like he was slowing down. Just picked up a big win over Tayfun, as we said, a somewhat contentious win for sure, but still a good showing back under the Thai rules. In kickboxing, I think this is just going to be, a question of, I think, looking at the matchup, like Tayfun has that, that, as we said, this is a very like European style kickboxing versus Muay Thai fight, which Sittichai is used to. Yeah, he fought Marat a million times. Has fought, the likes of I would say Josh Jauncey has quite a Dutch style as well. Not a Dutch guy. But trained under Souwer. He's used to kind of, and Davit Kiria also is a good example. Sittichai murked him a couple of times too. It's not something Sittichai, he's a well-adapted kickboxer. Tayfun, as we say, he likes that busy boxing-oriented and low-kick kind of style. Without unpacking it super intricately, he likes that kind of, sort of lean out and uppercut kind of entry. We'll kind of like pump like sort of a double cross down the line, like to kind of like back guys up. Big action fighter. I think watching him fight, I do believe he's there to be left kicked. I think knees is Sittichai's friend here. If he can get them going and kind of disrupt, it's going to be a matter of controlling tempo. It's volume versus that. The kickboxing scoring is going to be interesting to watch, because I think from a pure effectiveness standpoint, Sittichai's openings for knees, it's going to be a matter of just getting those straight knees up the center on entry and left kicking, just sending that left kick up across the midsection while Tayfun steps into punch. There's some openings there. I watch it. I haven't watched heaps of tape on Tayfun fighting like a Thai stylist. I've watched him fight like a lot of European. Let's have a look. I would imagine he's not. Yeah, I don't think he's ever fought like a real Thai style, let alone like I don't see a lot of it's mostly like European kickboxing styles on his record. So that can be like a pro or a con. He probably won't be used to that kind of single shot power type style. Like a lot of the guys I think a lot of the European kickboxers, it's quite an obliging style.
Just we're gonna sit each other with like our hands, basically hands and just go from the middle.
It's like how almost like Mexican boxing. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit of a we're gonna set the range fight in the phone booth and kind of duke it out. It's a lot of there's a lot of intricacy to it that I think people don't understand. Like the inside boxing work. There's a lot of that nuance you don't really get in kind of the Muay Thai style, because once you get in close, the clinch and the elbows become a part of it. But I'm looking at his record now. He has beaten Pechayol Banchamek on infusion, so he's had some experience against, and he has also many moons ago he beat Fabio Pinto, who of course is a bit more that Thai style. Yep. So I see openings for left kicks and knees, and I think that's Sittichai's thing for sure. It's just about whether he can slow the entry of Tayfun down enough to make that happen, and whether he can warn off the aggression enough to make that effectiveness win under kickboxing rules, which is, of course, very important. Sittichai's style is very much Muay Thai for kickboxing, but he's adapted it to the rule set. He's got to really shut down the aggressive the high volume offense to land those knees and make statements with it. So I think this is a pretty interesting fight. I reckon I'll go Sittichai for this.
Yeah, that's a fair match.
But that one's a bit.
Yeah, I think Tayfun's just got like if you're gonna look at balls in court from there, it's just like more so like his physicality.
Yes.
There's like you can see Sittichai in the past slow down a little bit, which especially when you got something like Tayfun, there is no off switch. It's just constantly barrage. Yeah.
And that's going to be hard to keep off where these landing power kicks and knees. Like Sittichai, of course, is a tough dude. You're not going to walk through. That's the other thing about like kind of coming into like fighting that person with a little bit more of a Thai style and how much you can't like just walk through a Sittichai knee or kick. Like it's different. Like you're not just gonna. But if he can get through one, wear it on his guard and just get the boxing going, is Sittichai going to have the gears to keep moving and keep making that game work? That's sort of what remains here. I believe a prime Sittichai I would pick handily in this fight.
Yeah.
I don't know where Sittichai's at right now. Form is good, coming off a win in his last fight. So let's see.
See, definitely. And so let's get to the last match of the tournament. There, so you got Marat Grigorian, that one, Willie on the upper, and then you got Andy Souwer. So this match in like all the matches, like it makes me feel like I just got that uneasy feeling in my stomach every time I see Andy Souwer step up to the plate now.
I'm a massive Andy Souwer fan from way back, but I don't even think there's too much to say about this fight. I think like the physicality of Marat Grigorian will probably be too much for Andy Souwer at this point.
He is the storm pretty much, and like Andy Souwer at the moment from there he just feels like more like the storm against the paper plate.
And Souwer, I mean Marat, like he's got like an interesting sort of guard. Like when you're in close, it's very very narrow, and like you do see guys work his body. And like a younger sort of prime Andy Souwer, like it would have been, you would have. It's a different fight to kind of analyze. Like I think because his body work is some of the best ever. That almost like a similar to like what people call the Ernesto Hoost style of low kicking, like that round body shot into that real arch over. Like Souwer when he was younger was like incredible at dictating exchanges. Like his inside boxing was unreal, and his positional control, like the way that he would get on your hands and reposition himself in the midst of an exchange, was unreal. But yeah, I think just a little bit slower, a little bit older these days.
Yeah,
but still very much at the top of his game. I think this is probably going to be a rough night for Souwer.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that I'm kind of predicting that as well. You never know that, but combat sports, like sometimes you can just kind of pick a lock.
I'd like to be proven wrong. Like it'd be cool to see Andy come into this one with like some renewed youth and kind of start to mix it up in the rest of the tournament. But like he is coming off a win, his first one championship win over Zhang, which was a good fight. It was a fun fight, but like had a pretty ugly one against Tayfun Ozcan, and then had another, not a terrible performance, but a flat performance, and against Anthony Njokwani, on the One Hero series, and then had quite a rough one against the Ozcan Clive Fairtex. So yeah, I mean, like you never know, of course, but I do think that kind of run was starting to seem like Andy has slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk of the boys on the top of the heat. You have the champion, Giorgio, and the up-and-comer.
Actually, not the champion. It's a vacant. An inaugural title fight, yeah. Petrosyan, who held the tournament title from that they're doing again, but this is actually the
so it was a
inaugural
title. Okay.
I don't know why. It seems pretty easy to give him the title off of the tournament, but
yeah, that's why I thought it was pretty clear cut from that one. But okay, fair enough.
And I would imagine that the winner of this tournament gets the gigantic tournament belt and then fights. I love belts, eh? So any chance to someone,
any chance to throw something on someone, yeah, looks good.
Love the fight though.
A great fight. So what's the breakdown on this one coming up?
Look, I mean, what do we need to say about Giorgio Pertosyan? We've talked about him time and time again. He's a computer of a man. I love Giorgio because he doesn't do anything seemingly complicated. He can just control very fine angles and just has an incredible ring understanding. Like, he knows his distance, knows his position. And the way when you watch him slow down, like his footwork is unbelievable. Like the way that he can just cut a really fine angle just to thread what he needs through. Very much like we talked about kind of Enriko Kehl not being the quintessential southpaw. I think Petrosyan is very much he's the kickboxing southpaw, like his left knee, left hand, right hook. Just all those base southpaw weapons coupled with incredible timing and ring understanding just make him super difficult to deal with. Has kind of been doing things a little bit differently in one championship, right? Like we've seen him like for a number of years was like like a femur style in terms of demeanor, like the way that he would just kind of counterfight and just do enough and win the points. Almost untouchable. Like, I mean, his record is 104-2.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but it sounds about right.
Something like that, yeah, like something crazy. Almost untouchable. But like he got caught by Andy Reesty a few years ago. That was a bit of a shocker, but yeah, then it's just picked things right back up. Versus Superbon, who like I feel like Superbon like one of the top ties competing in kickboxing, but I feel like he's one of these dudes that you have to like. I don't even think of him as like a crossover Muay Thai kickboxer. Like I think of him as a kickboxer. Yeah,
he's like, amount of time that he spent on Kulong and that just it's like definitely. I feel like he is more of a kickboxer.
Yeah, like we watch him. He even still hops back and fights kickbox. He's fought some Muay Thai, I'm pretty sure, like somewhat recently. Like he's not like adverse to getting back in the rule set. But yeah, like this is probably the most competitive matchup I think we've seen Petrosyan in for a number of years. Superbon since getting caught by Marat Grigorian in I think 2018 has put together like a wicked win streak. Excited to see him kind of string it together in one. I think this is a match that could be a bit awkward. Because Petrosyan, like Superbon is one of these guys, as much as he has really become like cemented himself as a kickboxer, he still likes to take liberties with the rules a little bit. Like he loves a catch and sweep and a foot sweep and stuff in kickboxing rules, and like Petrosyan's not really gonna like oblige that. Like how things are with him, like he's very like I think you're gonna hear a little bit of complaining to the ref and stuff like that. Because like again, this one's interesting as to whether it's in a ring or a cage, because some of the way that Superbon has adapted his style to kickboxing is very interesting, because again, he likes to just cheat. Cheat without cheating. Like, that's one of the things that's always annoyed me about kickboxing.
It's just cheating, you don't get caught for it. Yeah.
I mean, like, when do you ever see someone get punished or warned for catching and sweeping in kickboxing, despite it being explicitly not allowed? Yeah. But he also likes, like, you watch the way he doesn't mind. He's very good at covering ground by taking away your balance. So, like, if he catches a kick, he likes that little shove off and get you hopping on one leg, and that's when he'll mount his own offense. He's like, I guess he won't wait for you to be out of position. He will put you out of position. So it will be interesting against Petrosyan, who doesn't generally lead. Likes a little bit more to be the step back counterfighter. Like, can Superbon put Petrosyan in those positions is what remains to be seen. You know what I mean? Like, a very, very interesting fight. Superbon loves his kind of, like, he loves his big high kicks and his jump knees and stuff like that. Like, can you imagine Petrosyan getting hit with something like that? So we've never seen it, but we've never seen him fight someone with Superbon's ring acumen. So I don't know.
This is the match, though. That's what it is. It's like, this is that top level we're going to see. Like, Petrosyan have to, like, really kind of delve into, like, what he does best, and which is like basically just measuring the distance and making the other guy swing at air. Which is
Got
like
a pick?
Superbon is hard though. That's he doesn't like put himself out there too much to leave too much open.
Yeah, like honestly, the inside again. I think there's going to be. I love this match, but I think there are going to be elements of it that are a bit ugly. Like when it comes to, I look the inside exchanges in this will be unreal. Like I think Superbon, if you look at the way he counterfights, he's one of the only dudes that can kind of hold up to Petrosyan in there. That will be able to kind of, I guess, match his footwork. I mean, I believe that. I don't think you see Petrosyan in many competitive exchanges because it's just him out positioning you to the point where he does his work and he exits out. Like I think Superbon can trace him a little bit better and kind of make him fight, and that's going to be very interesting because like Petrosyan's a dude that not many people can make him fight, but he can scrap too. Like when you saw him just kind of walk down Joe Nadawat and stuff like that, I would really like to see this be a fight where, Superbon can match him for skills, and so they have to really kind of get. If you can get Petrosyan through his gears and kind of make him work a little bit, it's fascinating to watch. It's just that he's not going to do more than he has to, and not many are smart enough to even really compete with him. So I'm interested to see, again, over 5 rounds. That's one of the things that annoys me about one is you see a lot of good matches over 3 rounds. So I'm excited to see this for 5. Who's your pick?
I'm gonna go with Petrosyan.
I find it very hard to pick against Petrosyan.
But like it's like, but I could swing, but like it's like just same thing. He just looks too good, and especially this little, like you said, this later part of his career now, he's kind of like shifted gears to a little bit different now, and like searching to like really hurt people a bit more. It's a good fit for him.
Yeah. I love this fight. I think one's doing a good job making fights people really want to see. That were
more of it.
Yeah,
it's like less women's MMA tournaments, more.
I mean, or just invest in a good women's MMA tournament, right? Like, the other thing, this is another thing I was thinking about. Like, I get so much flack for when I say I hate MMA fights online. Like, this is like the latest thing that people get mad about is like people only liking one combat sport. like people are like, why don't you like MMA? It's ultimate fighting sport. I like MMA. Like, I don't. I'm not super.
I like good MMA.
Yeah, like, have you watched the MMA on one? Like, when I say I'm bored by the MMA fights, I'm not taking a shit on your favorite sport. I'm saying, like, you are watching the pinnacle of stand-up combat and, like, garbage MMA spliced together. That's why I don't like it. That's why I like these shows. I would love for one to just make a striking league and I can tune in and watch MMA if I want to, which is never, or I can just watch the Super Series because it's a completely different product in terms of level. That's why. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure there is now no Muay Thai fights on One First Strike. It's all kickboxing.
Okay.
But I'll settle. I'll meet you in the middle.
That's it. It's like, it will do. I guess it will work.
I haven't seen this officially announced, but Tayfun Chai versus Sammy Sana was on the card.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Tayfun Chai is hurt, but what is confirmed is that Samapet is going to fight Little Wader in November or December. So I can't see why they would announce in one. So I can't see why they would announce that for 4 or 6 weeks or whatever if that fight was still on. So I'm going to say that's fights off.
That's it. Damn, that'd be a good fight though.
Good fight, but fun. The Little Wader and Samapet's a sick fight as well.
Yeah, sounds good. So, guys, next Friday from there, it's all going down. See how our picks go. See if our reads were spot on or not. Okay, and it's
knowing tournaments. Remember, I think last time. Actually, yeah, I remember last time I picked every tournament fight wrong.
Did you?
Yeah, because remember, like, if you take the results as they were before the board got involved.
Yeah.
Petrosyan lost.
Yes, that's right.
Ozcan Clyde lost. Oh no! Oh, actually, yeah. No, I think I picked. I made some gutsy picks that ended up not being right. Yeah, like it was a very high drama tournament last time, and
Yeah.
sure will be the same this time. Tournaments are awful to pick.
And so to tournaments, man, they're just a different animal. You know?
And like a fresh out of lockdown tournament as well is tricky because there's all these like intangibles that, like, you know, you just can't get line of sight into. But I still, you know, I'll come out here with my picks. I won't sit on the fence.
Well, that's it. You know, you got to put
If
yourself
I
out
got
there.
'em wrong.
Man. Yeah, fuck. You know,
I'd love to hear yours.
that's it. You know, send them in to us. You know? Let's not listen.
That's it.
All right, cool. All right, so I think that'll do us for this week from there. And like, yep, we'll just see how this tournament goes. So just remember, guys, to like, subscribe, share the episode from there. Like I said before, if you think I'd picks, you got different picks, send them in. And yeah, post it up. And we'll
Everyone happy to tell me they knew what was going to happen after it happened. So
that's bullshit. That's all that.
Fuck you.
There's no evidence beforehand, then you're fucking lying.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we'll catch you next week. All right.
See ya.
Peace.